The imposing structure of Darth Vader's fortress on Mustafar was a testament to the Sith Lord's formidable presence. It was not merely a sight of fear and darkness, it was the embodiment of Vader's deepest desires, his darkest dreams, and his most personal haunts. Born from the molten fires of a planet that once sealed his fate as the Emperor's enforcer, it became both his sanctuary and prison. Here, amidst the lava flows that scorched the planet's surface, Vader sought not just to establish his power within the dark side, he meant to bend the mysteries of life and death to his will. Yet hidden within its shadowed halls and arcane chambers lies a story of love lost, a quest for redemption, and the unbreakable chains of fate that bind the galaxy's most feared villain to his relentless pursuit of power. Today, we look at the secrets hidden within its walls to understand the man behind the mask and witness the lengths to which the heart will go to reclaim what was lost. 5 years after Order 66, Darth Vader and his Inquisitors tracked down and killed Jedi Master and former Council member Eth Koth. During the process of taking Koth's infant son to Coruscant to be used for Project Harvester, Vader uncovered a relationship between two of the Inquisitors. After chasing the lovers across the cityscape, he ended their relationship. And with no leads on the few surviving Jedi, Vader reported to his master, only to be surprised with a reward for eliminating the Jedi survivors, Padme Amidala's royal starship. Just the sight of the ship brought back a flood of memories for Vader. With Palpatine's blessing to go where he will in pursuit of the dark side, there was only one planet acceptable to Vader, the world of Mustafar. Once again traveling in the J-Type 327 Nubian starship, Vader returned to the fiery planet. The Sith was accompanied by Colonel Bryn and her aide Lieutenant Rogo, who were to design Vader's personal residence. But Vader had a personal mission, one that was his sole reason for selecting Mustafar. Without leaving instruction for the Imperial officers, he entered the cave that was home to the Darkside Nexus, where he had once bled the Kyber crystal that sat at the heart of his lightsaber. Once there, he immediately began meditating. Sometime later, Colonel Bryn interrupted the Sith to show him her design for the facility she was to construct. Expecting Vader to be pleased, she was surprised when he simply replied that the design was wrong, and he sent her away with no further instruction. Later, hearing the female officer scream, Vader returned to the ship to find Bryn dead and her assistant wearing an ancient helmet. Before departing for Mustafar, Darth Sidious had given his apprentice one additional gift, the ancient helmet of Darth Momin. Recovered from the Jedi Archive vault, the Emperor advised his apprentice the helmet of the heretical Sith might help him in his endeavors, as Momin's use of the Force was unique. Lashing out at the helmeted officer, Rogo's work caught Vader's eye, the design for a fortress that might achieve his goals. Using the Force to remove the helmet from the dead man, Vader brought it into the Nexus and inquired what the helmet was. And in response, it showed him. The ancient helmet contained the spirit of Darth Momin, a darkside scholar and sculptor. His artwork was found to be disturbing and repulsive, and he was imprisoned for creating sculptures out of flesh, bones, and organs. Word of his works reached Sith Lady Darth Shah, who freed the young man and taught him about the dark side of the Force. Using this arcane knowledge, he sculpted a mask for himself, but before donning it, he mutilated his own face. As Sith apprentices often do, Momin adopted the title of Darth and murdered his master. But rather than take an apprentice for himself, he focused on creating art that would satisfy the dark side itself. As Momin used the Force and his acolytes to develop a weapon with enough power to obliterate an entire city, he was discovered by the Jedi. The presence of the light side of the Force disrupted his concentration, causing him to lose control of his weapon. The aftermath left only his mask, which contained his spirit. At the end of this tale, Vader found he had removed his own helmet and placed Momin's in its place. Rejecting Momin's attempts to gain control of him, Vader hurled the mask away. Forcing the mask onto a local Mustafarian, Vader inquired about the design Momin created. Just as Vader hoped, Momin revealed it was the key to open the locked door of the Force Locus on Mustafar. Then Momin enticed Vader by revealing that if constructed, the fortress would tune the dark side energies, allowing the Sith to pierce the veil of time between life and death, reuniting him with his dead wife Padme. But Vader, having been lied to in the past, lashed out, grabbing Momin in the Force and threatening to end his existence if the ancient Sith could not deliver on his promises. Momin replied with sincerity that he only desired to create, and this was the perfect opportunity to use the dark side to create his masterpiece. Under Momin's guidance, Vader used Imperial resources to construct his castle. But when Vader attempted to open the door, catastrophe struck, causing the fortress to fall and the door to refuse to open. Momin presented design after design, but each time the Nexus remained closed, until finally Vader had enough and a lesson had to be imparted. Striking down the Mustafarian after the fifth failure, Vader placed the mask on a nearby stormtrooper and their work continued. Still, the designs continued to fail as more Imperials became hosts to Momin's spirit, until 2 years later when the 9th design was constructed. This one was truly special. The power in the focusing chamber hummed upon completion, and Vader sensed this was the power the Nexus was waiting for. As Vader moved to open the door, the dark side called to him, and he knew they had finally accomplished his goal. In his moment of triumph, Momin advised that Vader rest before proceeding, but Vader would not hear of it. He was finally on the verge of reuniting with his wife, and he hurled Momin across the chamber before grabbing hold of the door with all of his power in the dark side and began to open it. At that precise moment, as if guided by the light side of the Force, an army of Mustafarians attacked the Imperials and the construction site, forcing Vader to leave the chamber and deal with the invaders. In Vader's absence, Momin seized the opportunity to execute his own plans, and he focused the dark side energies, opening the door himself and summoning his younger self from the past. Placing his mask on his younger self, Momin finally created his ultimate masterpiece, himself. Seeing the activation of his fortress, Vader lashed out in rage at Momin's betrayal, decimating a number of invading Mustafarians on his way back to the Force Nexus. Confronted by the younger, rejuvenated, and now armed Momin, Vader crossed lightsabers with the Sith. Back and forth the two dueled, evenly matched, until Momin severed Vader's mechanical right arm. Never without a tactic, Vader distracted Momin with a question as he reached out in the Force, grabbing one of the stones and smashing it into the ancient Sith. And using the Force, Vader placed Momin and his helmet under immense pressure, crushing life and spirit. Activating the doorway, Vader stepped forward, having believed this day would never arrive. Leaving his physical body behind, Vader's spirit entered a new realm. Haunted by visions and memories of his past, Vader experienced Anakin Skywalker's emotions, which he had believed were no longer inside him. Traveling through his past, he came across a vision of the future where he would face his former apprentice, Ahsoka Tano. But there was no time to reflect on this possible future, as suddenly he was confronted by dozens of Jedi, the majority of whom were dead, most by his own hand. But Vader could not be stopped. He had no time for the Jedi. This was his past, and somewhere before him was his wife and their future. Slaughtering the Jedi, he entered a vision of the Jedi Temple to face the two men that served as father figures in his life, his current master Sheev Palpatine and his former master Obi-Wan Kenobi. The two turned on each other with Palpatine overpowering Kenobi. But again, Vader could waste no time. This was irrelevant to him. All that mattered was returning to his lost love. And then she was before him. In that moment, Vader ceased to exist. Only Anakin was there to greet his wife and reunite with her. But just as he reached her, the unthinkable happened. She declared that Anakin Skywalker was dead, and she threw herself over the railing, leaving Anakin to watch as she plummeted and was disintegrated by a bolt of lightning. Everything Vader had sought was now gone. His reasons for wanting Mustafar from his master, the years of constructing a fortress to focus the dark side, all of it for nothing. Suddenly, his anguish was interrupted by the arrival of a figure bathed in light. A figure so powerful, it blasted him out of the realm and back into his physical body. In his anger and pain, Vader lashed out, destroying the dark side locus, closing the door forever. Only the fortress remained, a testament to the complexities and contradictions of Vader himself. But this only served to harden Vader's heart, strengthening his resolve that he deserved loneliness and the dark side. It would be years before Anakin Skywalker would reawaken inside Darth Vader. If you want to see how that happened, check out this video.